Alright, welcome race fans to the 2020 Michelin Pilot Challenge presented by Online Racing Collective. This is round number 2 at Sebring International Speedway. We've got the GS cars in front of us taking off. So actually I'm going to quit out of this so we can get some good footage. And then we're going to spectate this. So for those of you who joined us after second week, last week race 1 was pretty awesome in Lobby B. We've got a slighter, lower bit of cars actually, sorry, slighter, that didn't make any sense. We got a lower bit of competition cars this week, so we ended up having GS and most of the cars and TCR split into Lobby A, give the drivers a chance to earn maximum points. So we've got 4 TCR, which we're on board with here. Let's see, let's go ahead and, we got Chuckles here in front, followed by Patriot, Trigger Story, and then Naughty by Gamer. Actually, let's go through Patriot really quick. Patriot's in the VW, I do believe. No, he's in the Honda, sorry. Trigger Story's in the VW, and then Naughty by Gamer is in the Honda. Here's a look at Trigger Story. And Naughty by Gamer. Alright, we got 30 seconds behind, we got the GS cars, but actually, you know what? I'm going to go through lap times really quick. So, let's see. Scroll up, hang on. Alright, we got Chuckles with a 226.618, Patriot with a 221.910, Trigger Story with a 222.404, and Naughty Bay Gamer with a 223.020. Then we'll go up to GS here. And get on Hooligan so you guys can have a visual of the driver. Alright, I got Hooligan Hart here with a 2 minutes 15.125. Zach Awesome with a 2:15.585. Cold Tires with a 2:15.717. And I think we did have Mr. Grimp not able to make the qualifying time, so he has not set a qualifying time. So we'll see what he can get up to in this. Alright, so again, there's Hooligan there, and I said the Sinister 666 as they come on the back straight, they're lining up. We got Corporal Cole here in the Camaro. Oh, we skipped somebody actually. Zach Awesome, that's right. There you are, Zach, sorry. Didn't mean to bypass you. So we got the 2 Mercedes AMGs locking out the front of the B, and then we've got a Camaro and an Aston Martin in the back. So let's get on board with, I want to be on with Hooligan right here. So there you go, we got the start right here, just across the start finish line. Hooligan Hart takes the inside here. Now we've told the drivers that they can actually take the regular IMSA racing line, which is on the inside of that against the wall. It's going to be a little bit of a change. Actually, let me get rid of the map really quick. Where's that? There it is. So it's going to be a little bit of a change for the drivers. They've been qualifying, practicing all week, basically using the normal Forza clean line, which doesn't make any sense because their track limits are defined by a wall right there. But that's okay. A little bit of challenge for the drivers to remember that, change their brake and turning point maybe a little bit, and take that apex correctly like it's supposed to be. Alright, so we got Hooligan and Zach, Grimp, and then Cole. So Grimp's moved up from 8th to 7th right now, behind the Zach Awesome in the Mercedes. Trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here. Let's go check on the TCR real quick and see where they're at. Chuckles maintains his lead behind. Let's change this to game cameras. Hopefully, and you guys tell me in the comments of this video when it's posted, tell me what you guys prefer. Do you guys prefer the game cameras? Do you guys prefer the replay cameras? A little bit of both. Tell me what you guys are looking at, and I'll try to bring what you guys like. I personally like this view because I can do this. I can switch back and look, and I can have a nice front facing view. Looks like Chuckles has broken away a little bit from the rest of the field, who right in line. So I did get a chance to drive this Honda TCR and kind of tune it up and see. And we're gonna check a balance performance after every 2 rounds. We're going to look at the balance of the cars. We're going to adjust any needs. We're going to look at lap times only as far as that, because that is the telltale. It doesn't matter who won, you know, at that point most of the time. It just depends on lap times, what they're able to put down. So, and then also all the admins get a chance to drive all the cars. We check different tunes, so there's a lot of work that goes into the balancing of the cars. It looks like we got a lock up on the VW in the back there a little bit of a trigger story. Let's go back there. Looks like we got a closer battle between second and third. And Naughty by Gamer in the other Honda. And he didn't lose too much ground, it looks like, but he did lose a little bit of ground to Chuckles up there. You can see him kind of going off in the distance. Patriot in the back, that's what I was going to say. I'll stay on board here a little bit so I can watch this, see if he's catching. He caught Chuckles a little bit on that. It was a good hairpin. Kind of a hairpin. More than 90 degree, how about that? Coming up the tower turn up here. Nice and easy on the brakes. A little bit off the apex there. So it's basic same gaps here. Check my telemetry. No, I don't. Got the damage up so we can switch to that. Okay, tickers on loop data, so you guys will again see a bunch of different information flashing across the screen here. Up on top, you can see the gap times, you can see the feet times, and you can see the obviously the position. So here's feet right here. You can see kind of the gaps forming. Yeah, so it looks like we got a few gaps, and for some reason 0 and 0 on the other two drivers. That's interesting. Then we got time gaps here. So again, the drivers have two mandatory pits in this race, so they just can't pit up until lap 3 and up until lap 25, so we can have a good racing lap at the end. Now let's go back here to Naughty by Gamer. Actually, let's go back to Patriot so that we can see Naughty right in front of him. And we have two Hondas. I noticed that the Hondas had a lot of turbo lag. It seemed like you really had to drive it into the corner hard and kind of carry that apex speed on this car to be real successful. I was only able to get, I think, a 219, mid 219 with the tune I did. So I definitely agree. I think it is lacking a little bit of oomph to it. And it's probably just down to that turbo lag and driving style and stuff like that. So I think it doesn't suit my driving style too much. Because the car in its current form, a couple drivers, some of those platinum drivers, some really fast alien type guys, got it down really far and really competitive. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, and that's where, like I said, the balance performance is a really difficult thing to kind of balance, because you're balancing so many different factors. It's not just the car. In theory, you'd be able to run the car on a computer screen, with computer tactics being exactly the same every time, and you'd be able to get a better idea. Ooh, a little wide there, okay. So who are we on board with? This is Patriot. So Patriot, just a little quick tip for you. I know you've seen hooligans coming. You want to leave room for them, but don't do that. Just maintain your normal race line. Give them something predictable to work with, and it's up to the faster car to pass. I understand you're being a gentleman about it, and you can ease up on the throttle, let's say on the straight or something like that, but still stay the racing line. Don't do defensive lines, don't do anything like that, and don't move over, because that could end up killing your race. If you would have went off in the grass, went off in the tire bundle there, that your race would have been effectively ruined just by trying to be nice to the GS. So quick racing tip for you guys: just maintain your racing line. That's the best, and that's what GS is expecting too. When you do something weird and kind of out of character, that's when accidents and mishaps happen. So good learning lesson for everybody, I think, but nice and tight to the wall there. So they gave Naughty by Gamer a nice reprieve, and he's actually kind of stalking away a little bit. Here comes the rest of the GS. Somebody's already coming to the pits. I wonder, who was that? Is that Cole? Nope, not cool. Oh, I don't have, you know what, let's put the map up again. Mr. Grimp came in the pits. I wonder if that was for damage or not. That's interesting. That was pretty early, and that's lap 5, so no damage to nothing to the car yet. So that's interesting. That puts him way behind. So we'll see if he can bounce back from that and capitalize on maybe some other mistakes. So let's go back up to, we've got a lot of action now right in here. We've got Zach Awesome coming up on Patriot here in the Honda. Let's see how he handles this one. Okay. Normal racing line. I thought it was defensive. Ooh, locked him up a little bit. I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was again trying to let Zach through without slowing him down. So see, I think actually I'll direct you guys to Lobby A, or A Lobby for ORC Michelin Pilot Challenge. ORC Severius is on Twitch, and he's actually going to be twitching it, and he will be putting it on YouTube as well. So feel free to check out that Lobby A action. Again, we're trying to fill Lobby A as the biggest lobby so we can give these drivers a chance to get as many points. Okay. I have another, okay. So Corporal Cole now in the Mustang. Let's see. Actually, I need to see what Cole's paint is this week. Alright, so we've got a Baby Shark do. Yeah, I remember seeing this one. Number 7, Baby Shark. Let's see. There he is right on the front. Alright, so Cole, again, is the livery guy who likes to entertain us with his different liveries. He had the gold and black Army, Go Army, last week, and this week he's got the Baby Shark do. You guys say like that too, by the way. So, and I know you guys are singing the song now, so you're welcome. Actually, Cole, you're welcome. You just stuck everybody, or thank you. You stuck everybody with that song for the rest of the night. Maybe possible next couple days. We see Not a Bad Gamer go off big time on turn 1. I don't know if that was a turn in early, trying to get that better line up against the wall. Does that give Patriot a sniff? No, Patriot's a little too far behind, but look at Not a Bad Gamer in the corners, hassling the GS. The TCR cars are fast in the corners, and it obviously here is where the Camaro is going to stretch its legs. The TCR are also good on brakes too, so we got to be careful with everything. Alright, let's see. Kind of board here. We're Trigger Story. We got Zach Awesome coming up. Let's see how he handles the traffic on Zach's part and on Trigger Story's part. Coming into Tower Turn. Chuckles right up there in the TCR lead for B Lobby. A little bit of curb. Here comes Zach, slowly creeping up there. So the gap between TCR is relatively stable between first and second right now. It looks like the GS leader obviously has scampered off. He has nothing to do with these guys. He doesn't want to play with them at all. So Hooligan's got a huge lead up there. He's got a pretty fast time. Here comes Zach. Watching the brakes here. Ooh, really shallow line there, trying to let him through. So Trigger Story trying to be nice again, staying in the inside line. The downside is this is going to be the inside line for Zach when he comes in. So this is a good example of not moving over. Keep it on your racing line and give Zach the opportunity to go up the inside, because watch what's going to happen here. Yeah, so in theory Zach should have been able to carry up. Now he does over-under. Oh, he's got to pinch it really tight now. So yeah, so a lot of time lost for both drivers right there. So Trigger, same thing too. If you're watching this, try to keep that normal racing line. Again, I know what you guys are doing, and it makes sense to some degree, but it's also slowing you guys down a lot. It's slowing down Zach and slowing yourself down for the TCR. So the Chuckles has gained a little bit, and definitely Zach has lost a lot of time. So this is the hard part about multi-class driving with cars that are, I mean, like I said, in the corners they're almost the same for the most part, but it's on the straights is where the GS, so the G4 or that GT4 cars take off. So it looks like the gap has stabilized here from trigger to. Oh no, is that Cole back there? Oh, it's Cole back there catching up. Okay. I'm sorry. Trigger's in fourth in TCR. A little bit of lawnmower grass cutting right there from Trigger. So see if Cole can now, after that early pit stop for whatever reason, that early pit stop that allowed him to come in. We'll see what he can do to get back up. So Trigger runs wide into the grass there. No worries with rejoins, obviously there's nothing going on. Let's go head out to Hooligan in the lead here. Let's see what he's looking at. He's looking at a bunch of clear track. And no pressure. I mean, he's got a ton of space. It looks like a TCR car. Chuckles is behind right now. So he's got a big gap right now. Nothing to worry about, just a Sunday drive. Let's see, are they getting on the back? Getting on the back straight just now. Wow. Lights for the second car, but not the first. That's interesting. See, we got Chuckles and TCR in second place right now, holding down. So here's the line. Chuckles maintaining an outside line. Here comes Zach. Let's see if Zach, yep, Zach has enough room, so that's perfect. That's a good example, Chuckles and Zach, about how we want to do it. Nice, good driving, Chuckles. Way to go. Not to run into Zach. You guys are both on the edge there trying to make that right-hander and over the bumps too. It's no easy task. So that was a good example, guys, of cooperative passing where you're not losing a ton of time. They lost a little bit just because they you know, Chuckles can actually hang that front wheel drive in there with the GS, but that was a little bit more of a textbook style overtake. So here comes Cole. So Cole's coming up on Chuckles. Let's see how this exchange happens. Good look back here in a nice sun. Sunset? Sunrise? I don't know. One of those. I wish we could set the time in Forza too, so I can tell you. And have some beautiful sunsets and time progression stuff. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm crossing both of them right now on my toes, my hair, everything. In Forza 8, they decide to do more motorsport stuff, like, I don't know, like everybody else. Alright, here we go. Cole should get a good run right here, and he should have it. Okay, normal line from Chuckles. Perfect. No time lost right there. So, Corporal Cole in front now. Catching up to the rest of his GS friends. Looks like Zach Awesome went a little off track there in the tower turn. So they gave Cole a little bit. Now Cole can really see him. So now Cole's going to be on the front foot coming in this by taking such an early pit stop. While these guys are working through the field and maybe slowing themselves down, Cole was able to get out of traffic, take that pit stop. That may have been a strategy. Cole, comment if that's what happened with you, or if you got damage, please, so we can let our viewers know. I was not on board with that, so I'm just guesstimating, but it did look like you gained actually a lot, because you're right on the back of Zach through that pit stop. Zach still has to take a pit stop, so you're going to blow right past him. And then if you hold that second pit stop towards Mato towards the end, you guys should gain out of that massively. All right, so we see we got a large gap between the TCR field now. Between first, second, third, and fourth in TCR. Let's look at a GS amongst those. That should be Cole. Or Mr. Grimp, sorry. Mr. Grimp sandwiched in between two TCRs right now. Naughty's going to go defensive for some reason. Again. Nope, now he's going to go back to race line. Perfect. Okay, that's better. Thank you, Naughty. Okay, that gives Grimp the corner in the GS. Yeah, look at those. Those Hondas are good in the corners, especially this last corner. As the Wonder Bread Aston Martin, Naughty by Gamer coming in for his first pit stop right there. Let's see actually if we can get... Let's see if I can get his damage really... Nope. Dang, I missed it. I wanted to see what his tires were at and everything first before checking into that, but just not enough time. We're not quick enough. Alright, let's look at our track map here. Let's look at some battles. Everybody's spreading out. Let's see, we got Corporal Cole. Let's get on with him with coming up to Zach Awesome. Zach Awesome made that mistaken tower turn the last lap and gave Cole a little bit of sniff of coming up. So let's see how they handle it now. Coming into that same corner, let's see if he repeats the same mistake, or if he gets on the brakes just a little bit sooner and gets that AMG stopped a little bit better. Okay, much better. Takes the apex, hits that little bit of tire. So I noticed that, like I said, I mentioned last week, it looks like the AMGs, and it's probably down to diff settings from the individual tuner as well, and the brake pressures and brake balances like that. But it looks like the AMGs lock up quite a bit for both Zach and Hooligan. Doesn't affect them. It doesn't look like very much, but it's interesting to note that pretty much they're the two. They're the same cars, the two brands, the only brands. Ooh, looking like Zach got way out of shape there. Cole sees that. So now this is where the part where, as a driver, you're looking. Cole should be analyzing Zach and notice that he has made a few mistakes. Notice where those mistakes are, and potentially where he can overtake, and when he is stronger. So this is the part where you're really analyzing the driver in front of you. And to be honest, you're self-analyzing yourself. You're looking at your strengths. You're looking at your weaknesses, and where he's fast. So it looks like Zach is going deep in a lot of corners. So, you know, if I were in Cole's shoes, I'd be looking at that and being, okay, the last 2 laps, he's gone deep in 3 corners. And again, mentally click off those places where it's at, because he's most likely to do them again in there. So that was the last corner. Second last corner onto the straight. Oh no, sorry, in the S's, and then tower turn as a 3. Let's see what kind of pressure he puts on. And the pressure, Zach's got to absorb that pressure now too, knowing that he's made mistakes, and it might have got him flustered a little bit, making those mistakes. So this is more of a head game right now, where these drivers are really analyzing each other. So Zach, his focus is to drive forward. Always look forward. Don't worry about the rear right now. I know it's hard sometimes to not look in that rearview mirror. So that's where some of the game cameras come into play for me. If I have a ton of pressure, I might change the game camera so that I don't see that pressure from behind anymore. Kind of effectively block it out. I'll give you guys a quick tip. When I've been to my driving schools in real life with NASA, Southern California. So one of the things that one of the instructors said, which was amazing, I think it was my first or second weekend on track, and I was in what's called the HPDE, which is the high performance driving event or driving experience, where you're just learning everything. You're in your own daily driver usually, or in a friend's car, whatever you want to use, you can take there as long as it passes technical inspections, has good brakes, stuff like that, not leaking anything. Basically, you can drive anything on there as long as it passes, but you get an instructor, sitting with you and telling you exactly where you should turn in, how hard you should brake, and all that stuff. But anyway, one of the instructors said one of the cool things I really like. He said, when you're learning how to drive, even when you're learning how to drive initially, when you first start, like 15, 16, whatever age you start, and when you're driving on track for the first time, it's really interesting. You have this tunnel vision. I mean, so I started my driving, well into my 30s, late 30s. Getting on track actually in real life, just because I never felt I had the right car. Everybody thinks you should have a high horsepower, Camaro, Mustang, AMG, whatever it may be, to go to a track event. That's not totally true. I mean, I did it in an 03 Corolla, my daily driver that I got from my wife, and you can see the videos on my YouTube channel. Check out my driving experiences. My very first track days at Willow Springs here in California. Anyway, I keep going on tangents because I keep thinking of more. So sorry, stay with me, guys. Stay with me. So my point was that when the instructor said, look, when you first get on and we first drive the car for the first time, let's translate it this way so everybody can understand. When you're in the car for the first time, let's say that you have $1 to spend in change, okay? So you've got $1 and you're sitting there, and at first, when you first get on track and when you first drive in the first time, that $1 spent looking completely forward. That's all your focus is, because kind of that's where it needs to be at that time. Eventually, as you get more experience, you can afford to, throw 10 cents to your right mirror, throw 10 cents to your left mirror, right? Throw 10 cents to your rear view mirror, and check those periodically. So all of a sudden, your change is being distributed differently than when you first started. And as you get better and more experience, and this is no different than virtual racing as well, by the way. This translates to real driving, to virtual driving, to anything that you kind of want to get better at, is knowing where to spend and how to spend that change, right? So you don't want to spend, let's say, 50 cents, of your $1 on the rearview mirror, right? That'd be too much. So there's a balance between everything. And then even if you're in a manual like I was, you know, I had to spend 10 cents on gear shifts, clutch and gear shifts, you know. I spend 10 cents, you know, even just in the beginning part. Oh, here comes Hooligan lapping the GS drivers right now. Coming up. Cole's trying to give him room. Again, Cole, stay that racing line. Just do your normal thing. And let Hooligan pass him. See what happened? Boom. There's another good example. Anyway, so back to the change thing. So I think you guys get a relative understanding of what that means. And if you guys have any questions about that, any further explanation, that always stuck with me throughout my whole racing career here and online even, is just where to spend that money, how much to spend, you know, the distribution of it, which is cool. So hopefully that helps, guys. Oh, Cole went on the pits, that's why. Okay, so Cole, this is second pit stop for him. So he's done with pit stops, but that's a pretty long run from lap 13 to lap 27. So the good thing is I don't think he's going to have an issue with fuel. He's not going to have an issue with tires. Forza physics, the way the tires go, is they don't really disrupt you to like 60-70%. So they can turn yellow and they can even turn orange. But I think once they turn red is when you really have to start looking at tires. Looks like we got somebody coming in the pits behind them, but let's see. Okay, so now we got Zach Awesome in the lead because I'm betting. Oh, that's what happened. Hooligan pit. Okay, so Hooligan pit. Zach has not. Chuckle's in the pit right now. Looks like we saw across the ticker there. So Hooligan's job now is to catch up, which he had a huge commanding lead, so it should be no problem. If he's right on him and Zach has to pit, obviously, you know, that'll be a huge difference. So let's go back and confirm that while we were talking, Hooligan did pit. So let's go to, not that one, where is it? Player though. Let's go to damage here, and yep, 90% fuel. 1% engine damage, that's interesting. So Hooligan, looks like you're getting a tiny bit of damage here, maybe from downshifts. I would guess. It's usually where it happens. So I'm guessing he had about 2 laps here that we missed. So 7% in the front and looks like 5% in the rears. Let's actually stay on some of the telemetry and see. It's always kind of good to see the different applications people have, how much power, throttle response, and brake they're using, just to see percentage-wise. So let's check them out for a full lap here, and we'll go through the whole field. I think we have enough time for that. It's almost 80% on brake, and then tapping the throttle a little bit, going back and forth, feathering. Now he's 100%. You have a low rumble of that AMG. Zach's in the pit, so there you go. That's the gap right there. See if he's shifting too late or too early. Nope, looks like well, that's brakes. I'm sorry. Let's look at the next straight. So one of the things you always want to look at too when you're looking at telemetry and stuff is looking to see if you're shifting too late, shifting too early. You'll see that horsepower and the torque curve drop dramatically. And to me, if you're dropping a lot of horsepower on the straights like that, you're just losing time. So you'll see on your car, you'll see you know, the gauge, which tells you the red line. So 445 looks like the max horse. And it looks like he's losing about 10 horsepower. And some, you know, each gear is different too, so you have to keep that in mind. You have to look at each gear. Sometimes when you shift at, looks like, let's see, 6,000 something, 72,000. I wish I could see the gear on here, but I'm guessing that's 4th, 5th. So each gear has its own, you know, kind of power band. So staying in the power band as long as you can, you know, is the most effective thing. So bringing up telemetry when you're running, maybe even record that session with the telemetry up. If you've got an external capture device or an internal if you're on PC. But that's some really good information to look at if you're looking at driving, looking at improving. This is definitely one thing that you can look at. So again, let's stand on the whole lap here so you guys can see the relative information. A little bit wide into that corner there. See how he gets on power here. Should be on the power most of the time right there. maybe having about 40%, 50% throttle through those corners makes the car more stable, and it gives you, it doesn't give you much wheel spin coming out. Oh, I just noticed I like that Sunday Fun Day. Nice. I like that hooligan. And he's doing the binders. I think he's doing about 2 or 3 different brake inputs. So that's interesting to notice too. So guys, hopefully if you watch this each individual driver, this will give you good insight of what you can do to change some of those things and try to be a little bit faster. Let's go to Mr. Grimp in second place. Let's look at his telemetry. Perfect. Let's start this lap and look at his. Totally different sound from this Aston Martin. It's like 481 in that gear is the max horsepower. 470 in that. Looking at 41, yep. Let's see. Just a little wide of a few apexes here. Now, Mr. Grimp is a good story about perseverance and dedication, so I'll tell a little story about Mr. Grimp here for the last couple of days. So Mr. Grimp ran with us in the Tour 24 Hours of Daytona, and he ran the Team ORC blue car in the I think 2016 Ford GT. It was the worst car, by the way. It didn't have the power. It was fine out of the corners, fine at mid, but once it got up to 6th gear, it was a dog. And the RSR Porsche, the BMW M8, and the C7 Chevy just blew us out of the water. So, you know, we did good to effectively finish, but Mr. Grimp had a controller issue where his left analog, controller for steering completely failed, and he actually drilled a couple holes in his controller, took it apart, and put a couple toothpicks to actually allow it to stay. So I'm assuming, Grimp, that you're using the same toothpick MacGyver method right now to drive this, which is impressive. And that's dedication, guys. That's perseverance to racecraft, to race fun, to the drivers, to the series. I mean, that's everything right there that we kind of look for in the personality and mentality of the drivers. So that shows a lot of dedication. So I appreciate that, Mr. Grimp. Hopefully you don't mind the story. Gives you a little more street cred. You're welcome. Anyway, this is coming to the end of the lap here for the telemetry. So hopefully, Grimp, take a look at that. Tell me what you think. You can always look at, this is a learning experience, so always look at ways to improve. I certainly do. This gives you a good tool for doing that. So let's head on board with Zach Awesome here. And third, he should be coming around. Yep, perfect. All right, so Zach, we're on board with you now. So this is your opportunity to learn from yourself without having to focus on driving, which is always important. Another good driving tool too is to look at ghosts from other people that are fast. I usually try to start with somebody who, if I'm looking at Sebring and I'm doing a 2:12.5, I might look at somebody who's doing a 2:11.5, maybe 1 second, maybe 1.5 seconds ahead. Because it can get intimidating. A lot of people like to go for that number one driver, but that number one driver might be like 6-8 seconds ahead of you. How relative is that to your individual pace? So personally, I think of it as a ladder. You start at the bottom, and you can't jump to the top of the ladder if it's a 10-foot ladder. You got to take steps. You got to climb that ladder, right? So that's the way I look at it personally. I don't fault anybody for doing whatever they have, but that's just my kind of POV on the subject. So again, ghosts, looking at telemetry, looking at if you're doing double brake zones, looking at if you're braking too hard, braking too less, overshooting the corner. I mean, this will tell you so much information right here, and it all translates into numbers, right? Which is the easiest way, I think, analyze the data and look at that stuff. So take the time if you can. Running laps obviously is another huge thing. If you run 50 laps of Sebring, sometime during the week, 10 laps here, 15 laps here, whatever it is, and try to get that consistency. Obviously, that's going to be huge too. The other component is running with guys in that league. That's huge. Guys want to practice. We understand everybody has a life outside of this. I hope, anyways. Maybe this is your life. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to pass any judgment. All right. So we saw Zach run this line, that late line. So I'm guessing it looks like he's on his brakes too late. And too much right there, Zach. So I think you could definitely open up that corner, kind of rolling apex speed more focused than just that hard braking. So one of the things we do too at ORC is we'll do track guides and track development. So if any of the drivers want to get on board with us, in our Discord channel we have a driver development tab. So put on there, you know, that you want to develop your lines or your racing at, you know, maybe the next track. I can't remember what round 3 is right now, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to be out of it anyway. I'll be on my pleasure cruise to Jamaica, Cozumel, and the Bahamas. Anyways, so really early apex there, and you see what happened. Really force them outside. Okay, I think we're on board one time, huh? I've been talking the whole time again. Hopefully you guys like some of the things I say, but yeah, I'm kind of a jabberbox when it comes on this stuff. So let's look at Chuckles. Let's see where he's at. Okay, perfect. Just passing start finish. Again, big gap between. I wonder if I can I do map? Yeah, give me map. Okay. We're gonna have lots of information up now. Overwhelming. Alright, look at the inputs here. A little bit easier to drive the TCR between front wheel drive. The difference is they do have a lot of chronic understeer usually, and you have to be very much on the apex and straight towards the exit to get on the power fully. Cars have trouble rotating a little bit. A lot of this you can tune actually out a little bit, and you can make the front a little bit softer on springs and into roll bars if you want, to kind of mimic more of a turning, an oversteer turn-in scenario, to eliminate some of that that understeer, or brake a little bit earlier. I mean, there's lots of techniques you can do. You can, you know, on these cars, I think definitely you can do a lot more trail braking into the corners. But again, that's more of a stylized thing. There's some corners that lend really good into trail braking, and some that don't. That's personal preference, driving preference, all that stuff too. So Chuckles is doing good, hanging out in first place here. He's got a huge gap, nothing really to worry about, no pressure from behind. The field spread out. You do see, I'm sorry to say that we have a lot of drivers out right now due to NFL playoffs for some reason. I think you could DVR that stuff and maybe look at it later, but it's okay. I know guys are into their teams and definitely rooting, but we're missing a lot this week. So our B lobby unfortunately pilfered because of that, and light. We got Hooligan Hard doing a 2:13.8 up there across the ticker for his times. Coming to the end of the lap here, we'll stay on board with another 3 corners for Chuckles, because we do have a fairly large gap here between the next TCR car. So we'll try to get them when they're on the back straight. It's the advantage of having the map up, I guess. I just hope it's not too overwhelming, guys, that you've seen all this across the board. But I wouldn't think so. We got a GS car passing TCR on the back straight there, it looks like. A nice tight line. So he's deciding to do a little bit of turn-in correction there. Alright, let's go back to... Trying to remember now who we did the blemish for and who we didn't. Okay, we're on Avermedia Gamer here in the Honda TCR. So let's get your input here, Naughty, so you can review this and check out and identify any places where you think you can improve. So double brake zone right there. So maybe what I would have done, Naughty, is maybe just let off the gas a tiny bit instead of braking and slowing down that momentum and carrying that apex speed. Especially in the Honda, because it takes so long for the turbo to spool up. Every TCR, by the way, that we have in this series that we created has turbos. So everybody deals with turbo lag. It's just the cars, the manufacturers handle them differently, and they have a different time when they spike and when they kick in. So this is where tuning comes into play, and also keeping on throttle. So even right here, keeping 60 good. 50-60 grand throttle is perfect. Keep that turbo spooled up. So everything I'm saying too, by the way, guys, is merely my opinion. You know, my personal racing experience in the game, kind of identifying, you know, what works for me. So it may not work for everybody. That's true. But it may be one of those things too, where you're like, wow, I never thought of that, and yeah, I should try that. So hopefully it helps. We are everybody at the Online Racing Collective, all 5 admins here, which is, I'll go through the order here. It's myself, obviously. It's ORC Severius, ORC Black Ghost, ORC Yankees Fan, and ORC Comet. All racers, obviously, all dedicated, you know, to improving. So we got together for a sole purpose of creating good racing and a good community for everybody to come together, you know, kind of share their ideas. You know, it's open-ended form, obviously, for us on our website and on Discord, and we encourage participation, obviously. So there's always going to be somebody that knows more than you do. It's just a fact of life. It's just something that happens. And if you think you're the best, you're probably not. So having an open mind and willingness to learn, try new things, you know, whether it be tuning. I mean, we're constantly evolving in this game. Even this game's been out since 2017 in particular. But constantly being willing to look at that and being coachable and trainable, I think, is key. Let's take a look at Patriot. I don't think we looked at Patriot yet. Again, in the Honda. So we just got off Honda, so let's see. Oh, we got some diving in the pits there behind. See across the board if I can see that Hooligan Hart, the leader of GS, coming in for a second pit stop. So he's balanced them pretty evenly, it looks like, between. Okay, so that was a good example of, he thought he was going to go wide, so he let off the gas just a little bit. But maybe not using all of that runoff. There's a lot of runoff on the outside you can use. So here you see the chronic understeer of this car. Again, we lost somebody, I bet. That was a big old spike of something. Hang on, let's see what we got. Sack, Chuckles, Corporal Cole. Oh, Hooligan DNF'd. Oh my god. Oh man, that's so... I'm so sorry, Hooligan. Look at my spreadsheet here. Off to the side. Dang. Leading the race by a ton. That happened to Pedantic Squirrel last week. That's... oh man, that sucks. Sorry, buddy. Trying to pull up my spreadsheet here. Oh man, okay. Yeah, it was Pedantic last week that bounced out after the same thing after the lead. It seems like in B Lobby, for some reason, it's the winner's curse. Like nobody wants to win in the B Lobby and collect those points. Pedantic did it last week, Hooligan did this week, both in the leads. Wow. Alright, coming up on the end of the lap here for Patriot telemetry. So Patriot, hopefully this helps you understand your driving style, where you can improve little things. And it looks at it from a you know, an unbiased view, point of view, so where you're not worried about racing lines, you're not worried about catching anybody, you know, driving in your rearview mirror. It's just focused purely on telemetry and lines. So watching yourself is very key, and you'll often ask yourself, why did I do that? Dang, why didn't I brake earlier? Why didn't I brake? Why did I wait longer? Why did I turn in so early? Why did I turn so late? So constantly asking yourself those questions, you know, to get that faster lap, I think is what everybody's all about, right? Excuse me. Let's see. So we got Trigger Story back here. We got a GS rapidly approaching behind. Real tight line from Trigger. Alright, hang on guys a minute. I'm going to play with my spreadsheet for a second. And no, that's not code for something else. Literally have a Google Doc spreadsheet that we run logs with. So stop your laughing now. No comments. No good. Well, Cole will probably comment. Cole's always good for that. So let's see, Hooligan, where are you? Hooligan. Alright, so Hooligan took 16th place last week. And unfortunately, he's going to get a DNF for this one. But he will get the last place points is to get start the race. That's always been our contention, is if you at least start the race, you'll get at least whatever points, and we'll go in order of DNFs. So you'll at least get some points, Hooligan, and actually, technically, you'll get a lot of points. I'll have to wait till the end of the race to figure out, because we have so few entrants this week, because there are a lot of guys out watching, like I said, NFL or doing something else, family or whatever's going on. So it may not be so bad, actually, for you, Hooligan, as far as keeping those streams alive to get some good, decent points. Here we see Mr. Grimp, Mr. Grimp coming up. He's in first place in GS right now. I'll have to see how those the rest of those pit stops pan out, whether he stays in first. Let's finish up with Trigger Stories telemetry here. Huge wide line, a little more apex speed than the other TCRs. Ooh, but a little bit wide, a little bit of grass cutting. So Sebring International Raceway, don't worry, you don't have to cut the grass over there. It's been done already by Trigger Story. Trigger Story, they told me that they're going to go and send you some money for that, so they appreciate it. All right, coming into the final corner, lots of bumps. You can see unsettles the car. How much is he on power? 50, 60, full power, perfect. Okay, there goes my answer right there. Mr. Grimp in the pits here. So let's go up to the front here, and let's see where Zach is. Zach's in second place. Okay, so Mr. Grimp is definitely going to keep the lead here. So Zach's in second place here. The last AMG left, unfortunately, due to Hooligan Heart. Internet connection or being kicked out. Very unfortunate. That actually happened to me last night in one of my Taurus stints for the 24. As I was leading 99% of the laps, we had 9 minutes left in the stint. After, if you guys are familiar, you drive an hour and 40 minutes basically. The last 20 minutes of data collection and make sure the admins have all the times and distance and all that stuff. Or not times, but distance. As it is a team event, we had, I think, 5 drivers. Yeah. I disconnected. The game Forza crashed, and it disconnected at 183 miles, which the goal was to at least get 200, which is what I got in the previous stint before, and what most of our team was getting. So we missed out a lot. That really bombed our rankings in the overall series, but ended up being not too bad considering we were in the worst car. I guess the guys liked the way it drove, but it was the slowest car. There's nothing you could do to this in the current spec, that they had for it, that Toro had balanced out. So yeah, we kind of knew it was an uphill battle, but that's okay. We had a good paint done by ORC Comet. I'm sure you guys can check out some of the streams by Tora and some of the ORC guys to see. Thanks to Rares with streaming. I didn't bother. I didn't want to mess up my connection enough to stream and try to race. So, and it didn't even matter. I disconnected anyway because Forza shut down. So for me, it was great. Anyway, we're lap 21 here. I can't remember if we already looked at Zach, to be honest with you, so we'll just keep the telemetry up. Let's see if we missed anybody. It's hard when they're out of order mid-race. I think we already did, actually. So let's look and see if we can find any battles. It looks like we do have a TCR battle right here. We'll jump on board 6th. And 5th, I think I'm ahead. It's Patriot and Trigger. So Trigger can see him now, so this is going to be that, let's take up telemetry now. There we go. Oh, not that telemetry. And let's put on that. Alright, nothing going on around or behind. Like I said, Sebring is big enough, and a few drivers we spread out pretty good. Alright, so Trigger caught up a pretty good amount on the Honda in the last couple corners. You can see that VW is diving pretty harsh under braking. So I don't know if that's just his braking profile and how he likes to brake, or if he's got a lot of balance up front. Could be a number of things. Springs really light in the rear, or light in the front, either one. But he's caught up. You can see that definitely the gains Trigger's making on Patriot. So after the second race here, after Daytona round 1 and Sebring round 2, where did my ticker go? Isn't that weird? Oh. Must have, when I said telemetry, it deleted everything. So we're going to look at, the admin staff is going to look at BOP, we're going to look at some of these cars, we're going to look at lap times, we're going to look and see where we can improve some of these cars, and to affect some of the drivers. You know, sometimes just changing one thing drastically changes the way the car drives, even some minor inputs, you know, which definitely can help some drivers more than others. Again, it depends on driving style, depends on the track car combination, it's a lot of things. So for those of you guys who have not got into league racing, this to me is where you get better at the game, and where you get better at tuning, where you get better at everything, is jumping in league races. And you can download the tune from anybody, you know, on your, if you're doing an A lobby or B lobby or C lobby or whatever lobby you like to do, S lobby, in Forza. You can download the top guy's tune and you can think it's great and everything, but it doesn't really help you know how to tune. You know, because you can't see any of the metrics they use, because they want to make the tuning, you know, proprietary to that individual who spent, you know, maybe countless hours tuning and perfecting the car. So I understand why they do it. It's not conducive for a learning environment. So again, that's why I'll share all the tunes I do. You know, again, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm an A1 tuner. I make pretty stable tunes, but I do like, in my rear-wheel drive cars, I do like an oversteer car versus understeer. To me, I can manage it better with the throttle. You can do the same, I guess, with understeer too, but I like to try to get on power as quick as possible too. But anyway, the conducive environment. Oh, let's watch the battle now. Patriot got a poor run out of that section, and now we're seeing the VW power past here. Both getting each other just enough space. Okay, does he get the move done, or is he going to come up on the inside? He gives him plenty of room, actually. Good respective driving. Watch out for that curb. A little wide line there. Maintain that power, but I guarantee you that gave him a big gap by going offline right there. Alright, so Trigger's gone past Patriot there. Coming to tower, let's see if Patriot's going to come back at him. So we may have another pit stop for each of these guys. I have no idea what pit cycle they're on. We got 23 laps right now for these guys. So on lap 27, again, they'll start, you know, they'll cross start finish and pull over to the side. Everybody else is spread out pretty much. This is the closest battle right now. So let's go back to, oops, let's go back to Patriot. I like to see this view here as we see, yep, in the distance there we got a GS car coming up. That was interesting. That was a really quick shift. I didn't notice that last time from him. So one thing I find interesting in Forza 2, I don't know if I mentioned it in one of the previous streams. If I did, forgive me. If not, I was thinking about it. One of the interesting things is if you use the clutch, I mean, you could gain up to 3/10. I mean, in some racetracks that are longer, maybe half a second just by using the clutch. You know, using X, A, and B, you know, basically upshift and use the clutch at the same time as using the controller. Or use the 3-pedal system if you use the wheel. But one thing I noticed that's weird to me is that why would Forza, you know, give you that advantage? To me, that doesn't make any sense. You know, because race cars nowadays, you know, have an automatic clutch anyways. So why the hell would you be penalized for using an automatic clutch? That's actually, you know, in some cases faster. No, a lot of cases faster now with the way transmissions are done. So I did find that interesting that Forza decided to categorize that differently and give you an advantage by using clutch. So I think hopefully that's something that they remedy for Forza 8. Again, I'll cross my fingers, cross my legs, cross my hair, everything, my toes. Hopefully that's one thing that they remedy with that, is that you shouldn't gain a significant advantage for that. It should be the same. The metrics don't make any sense that way. Especially if you've already upgraded your transmission to a race transmission, done all things in the game that you can, you know, to bring down that you know, hundreds of a second, tenth of a second, not tenth, but hundreds to thousands of a second gain by doing race training. All right, here comes Mr. Grimp. He's leading this lobby. Now remember, he didn't qualify, so he had to work himself through the field. I wonder, this is the biggest question, I wonder if he would have had anything for Hooligan Hard had Hooligan not disconnected. I wonder if he would have been able to catch him. I'll drop a little gear there. Probably anticipating Grimp. Take your normal racing line, there you go. Power out, stay out there. Perfect. Okay, that was better. Better example. Oh, Grimp cuts right across. Dang, Grimp, that was a little close. Now, again, I mentioned too in Forza, I mention it again all the time, there's no such thing as draft in Forza. You don't get anything. Everything you see any gains, if you're in the same car and everything like that, is purely just if the driver, one driver was able to get on throttle quicker, one driver was able to turn in better and carry more apex speed. I mean, that's really the only difference you're seeing. Because in theory right now, even though the GS is faster, you should be able to see some TCR actually either maintain or gain a little bit of time through the draft, because they are relatively close to top end speed. So any differences you'll see between that is it's not draft. You know, it's just purely different metrics or different inputs that the driver is doing. All right, now we're coming up to here. This is the biggest kind of collection of cars right now. It is the 6th and 5th place on TCR and the GS Mr. Grimp #1 coming through. So I didn't get a chance to count, but I'm thinking Grimp is on... Oh no, Grimp is on the 25th lap, that's right. And TCR I don't know, because they just categorized the leader. It went on the outside of that corner, Grimp, wow. Trigger Story gave him some room, it looked like. That's a tough pass on the outside of that. That's again one of those things where the driver has to balance risk and reward. That was a pretty risky move, Grimp, on the outside. It paid off just because Trigger played ball with you, but that could have been pretty damaging had he missed his braking point at all, or understeered, which is characteristic of TCR. So again, understanding multi-class battles, understanding the characteristics of each car and class is key too. Understanding what they're capable of. The best way to do that to me is drive the car. You know, get in one of those TCRs and figure out how they drive. You know, even if you're in your GS, you know, that helps you understanding what they're capable of, what they're not. Now, obviously your driver talent is different than the person you're passing, but at least gives you a baseline, you know. But had Trigger Story, you know, not seen that or not held a tight line, that could have punted Grimp off into the dirt. Now he's not in any danger of losing the lead at that point. He's got a huge lead, but it could have caused damage. He could have rolled, and that could have effectively ended the race right there. And there was nothing to gain. That's where the risk reward comes into play. There was nothing to gain by passing that TCR right there. So I personally probably would have waited, been a little more patient, and waited to go on the next straightaway. Having said that, though, that was a good exhibition of cooperative passing on the part of two different classes in this lobby. Yeah, so Grimp just passed lap 26. I'm guessing TCR just passed lap 25, maybe, and they're 1 lap or 2 laps down. So we'll see. So coming towards the end of this, like Mr. Grimp, barring any catastrophic failures or anything, has this one sewn up right now. Let's see. So Zach is way back, on the just coming around to start the next lap. And then we've got Cole. Where's Cole? Cole's way back too. And then that's it. So now we got Chuckles and TCR. Let's see the gap for Chuckles to, so half a quarter of the track for Chuckles, or almost half, between him and Trigger Story. And then we got Patriot behind there. We see that's the closest battle on track. And then we got Naughty here, hanging back here. I mean, so the 3 TCRs, other than Chuckles, you can see they're definitely closest. So that's the downside too of having these multi-lobbies where we don't have enough, we have too much to fill 1 lobby, but not enough to fill 2. This is kind of that in-between kind of limbo of racing where, most of the times it's just going to be hot laps. Unfortunately, there's not going to be very much going on. Obviously, it's up to the drivers, so they've spread themselves out through going off and through different pit strategies and stuff like that. So it's definitely ultimately up to them to keep a clean race and have a fast race and a clean race and a tight race. But yeah, it looks like they're one lap down. I just saw across the ticker up there. So let's see. We should see. Let's get on board with Mr. Grimp because he is leading this thing. He's coming around. He's going to start lap 27, and he's going to pull off. So the win in the B lobby goes to Mr. Grimp after Hooligan Heart, unfortunately, DNF'd and disconnected from the lobby. So Mr. Grimp's going to pull off, go straight here and pull off on the side here and allow everybody to finish. Trying to find a nice spot. There he goes. TCR is going to keep coming. Here we go. We'll still on board with Zach Awesome here in second. And GS coming across here into the last lap. Across the bumps here, keeping it tight to the wall. Powering out with that monstrous V8. I think it's a V8 that one, if I remember correctly. And crossing the line here, second place in B lobby here. Alright, so Zach's here going to pull off, and then we'll jump on board once he parks here. We've got plenty of time. Zach got third place. Cole, I believe, is kind of located him. He's going to park it up right here. Let's see if they get a nice formation. Nice. Alright, here we go. We're going to jump on board with Cole in the third place Camaro. That baby shark doop. There's the baby shark. Wish I could see the side too, but I can't see the side in this view. Alright, coming on the last corner over the bumps. On the power again in a nice thundering V8. And crossing the line in third place. Alright, here goes Chuckles coming around the last corner right now. First place in TCR. Carrying a lot of apex speed into there. Trail breaking in. Oh! Way to finish it. He's got plenty of time. He doesn't have to worry. Unless he's got a bunch of damage, which I don't think he does. Chuckles trying to show off a little bit, I think. There you go, Chuckles. I got it on stream, or on video. You're welcome. Alright, Chuckles crossing the line in first place in TCR. He's going to go park it up, I think. Yep. Alright, we got Trigo Story here in second place in TCR. And the VW coming across. He's got a good gap. Hopefully he doesn't pull a Chuckles into the wall. Let's see. A little more patient on throttle and less understeer and more turn in. Revs out that engine. And he's going to cross the line here. Patriot here coming across the line right now. I think it's in third place in TCR. I lost track already. And Not A Bad Gamer following up in the other Honda, coming around the last corner. Powering up towards the line. There we go, crossing the line to finish the... So we only had one DNF, Hooligan Heart, unfortunate GS leader at the time. Looks like we got our race finished and wrapped. So not too exciting given that we did miss a lot of participants. So guys, shout out. Get some guys in the series. Let's try to get them in, just have some racing fun. Second round, so they're unfortunately out of the series championship points, but hey, at least grab some drivers, have some fun. If you're finding this as a normal person, just organic YouTube searches, hope you enjoyed some of the action. If you're interested, go check out our website, ORC, or online racing, COLLECT.wixsite.com. I've been your host, ORC Speedy Jab. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round. Thanks, guys.